I have to admit, I'm kind of starting to have a little bit of fun making this the way I'm doing it, with purposeful mistakes and kooky plugs and stuff, because I feel like in the end this thing is going to be really interesting, this table. And I didn't anticipate that. Typically I want to do things more perfect, and in this case I'm kind of taxed with purposefully doing things imperfect. And I have to, like I was just saying, it's kind of fun to do it like this. It's interesting. These things I'm doing here, these are little wedges. I'm just cramming into a couple cracks. Of course, it's the end grain here that you'll be seeing. And little holes won't bother me, but this is Purple Heart here. I'm going to put a little walnut next to this one here. Some of this wood is a little punky at the top. That's what I'm removing in some cases. Like I'm placing little pieces of wood here and there. Or wherever I'm putting a butterfly, sometimes I'm trying to choose a spot where it was a little kind of weak on purpose. So I could do these little plugs here. And in other places I won't put any. You want to wet this and scrub it pretty good to get the glue out of there, so that later when you come to sand things, you're not just sanding glue away. It's just, and there's nothing wrong with getting the work wet, because every time you do that it raises the grain a little bit. That's a good thing, because eventually you're going to come in and you're going to sand this thing. So let me grab a paper towel. Just watching this here. Give you a better view of that. It doesn't look like much now, but believe me, when this all gets sanded smooth, it's going to look interesting. It's going to really pop. Fun. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically screwing up the top on purpose. I went ahead, I put all my butterfly mortises in, all the plugs I wanted to, and I split open a few of the cracks on purpose, and I went in there with some sandpaper and a chisel, and I chamfered the little edges so there's not a sharp edge there. And then I hit it with a belt sander to smooth things out. I left one butterfly proud. And now what I'm doing is I'm dragging this old Kuhn's scraper across here, and I'm actually creating some chatter marks and hand marks here and there, basically putting a bit of a patina on this tabletop. Now, it goes against every fiber of my being to do this, because typically I'm building fine furniture and I'm kind of like on top of always making it as perfect as I can. It's actually, even though I'm adding a little bit of chatter and whatnot, it's still very nice. It's way flatter than it was, and it's cool, but it is interesting. I will say there's a place over in Studio City Tattoo, where I designed and built all the built-ins there, and it was the same concept. It was all built in a way where I beat it up on purpose. It was designed to look like, it's got a pirate theme. So the idea was, imagine your ship crashes up on the shore, and now you're going to live on this island, so you're pulling boards off the ship to build what you need. That was the idea. So the more you beat it up, the better it looks. And I did work in the film industry back in the 90s, up until about 2000, 2001, film and television. So that's where I learned how to do this sort of thing and make things look old. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm trying to basically erase with the scraper the sanding marks. And I'll go over this whole thing with this thing. I'm going to create a little chatter here and there. And then I'm going to go over it with like a 180 a little bit, a few spots. Smooth that out a little bit better. And then that's it. I'm going to leave it. And I'm just going to go ahead and I might even whack it a couple times with something here and there. And then I'm just going to do a wipe on polyurethane. And yeah, I'm a little bit beat up today. A little low energy. So I think what I'm going to do is, it's already, it's about 4 o'clock. So I'm not going to start getting on these breadboard edges today. It took a lot of time. I had to make a few extra things. I went a little kooky with these patches, which I'll show you. And I'll show you what that looks like real quick. Well, I'll just wet it down and I'll let it sit till tomorrow. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get the breadboard edges on and then I'll scrape it more and make it right. But I should be able to get the breadboard edges on tomorrow. After that, then it's just getting the base together, getting some finish on everything, and then deliver. So we'll see how this thing goes. Let's what if I wet this thing down real quick? How's that sound? Hang on. Don't go anywhere. All right. So again, this is just water. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll give you a little bit of a vibe of how this thing will look. It's going to dry up pretty quick. Yeah, this is good. We'll raise the grain for me. We already established that this top is flexible, which it shouldn't be, but it is because 3 of these boards are the center of a tree, so they've got a lot of flex. So the breadboard edge is like a necessity that will help flatten it out in this direction. And then keep in mind it's going to be sitting up on top of a trestle base, so that'll help it as well. I have to narrow this top up. It's a little over 30, it's almost 40 inches wide. Probably going to narrow it down to about 38 inches, 36 to 38 inches. Left that one there proud. This one here is recessed a little bit, but that's okay. See the patches in here. I think there's, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's, well, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 butterfly mortises in the top. I like this. See that little bit of chatter? That was from that scraper. So I'll try to add a little bit more of that. Not a lot. I don't want to overdo it. But that sort of thing there, that's good, right? And keep in mind, in the old days, right, before sandpaper, everything was just scraped. And I've done that too. I've finished pieces just by, I've got a bunch of old scrape. That's why I have the Kunz scraper. Back in the old days when I was teaching myself how to do all this, I did quite a few pieces where I just did a scraped finish. And even on the website, MikeZDesign.com, there's a whole little section there where I'm talking about my design aesthetic, you know, my philosophy of woodworking and furniture making. I was really full of myself back then. But I mentioned how tool marks in these pieces denote a handmade object where you're just not using machines on the whole thing. You're actually using hand tools to get things fit right. So it harkens back to an old style. You know, makes it look like this thing could have been done, you know, 100 years ago or more. And this turned out pretty good here. Again, this hole goes all the way through. Client wanted to keep that. I like that little bit of tiger right there. There's a little bit of tiger, or like a flame you'd call it. Once the finish gets on that, that's going to pop nicely when the light hits it. So you can see once the water evaporates how light this looks, but again, you can see how dark this board here is. So when the finish goes on it, this thing's going to look pretty amazing. Anyhow, just a quick short video for you guys today. I really hope to have gotten the breadboard edges on, but I took a late lunch today. I was here till afternoon, just getting in the last of the butterfly mortises and the plugs. Actually, when I came back from lunch, I had to put a couple more Dutchman patches in. So it didn't go as fast as I thought it was gonna. Everything always takes longer, right? So it's okay. Tomorrow's the breadboard edges. The thing about tomorrow is it's Thursday. Thursday, it doesn't even make sense for me to come here in the morning because the gardener shows up and they just run these machines. There's so much noise. They blow a bunch of dust into the shop and everything else. So I'm better off getting here about 11 or so. So it'll be a bit of a shorter day tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the tenons on these ends. And I'm going to narrow up the table. And then I'm going to work on these breadboard edges. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to the point where I get the long slot mortise cut, and these, I might get them fit, but maybe not attached. We'll see how it goes. But by the end of the day, Friday, I should have that. I should have the breadboard edges on and pegged. That's a pretty good pace. And then I suppose Monday I'll get on making the base. The parts are all milled, so all I got to do is start putting them together. There's a joinery and everything involved with that. But I'll get that done. And I've got a system I haven't done before. They make these bolts, like a barrel bolt, knock down furniture. I might even have a couple. I should look for them. It's basically a cylinder with a threaded hole in it. And you drill a hole in your piece, and then a bolt comes in from the other side, perpendicular to it, and fits right into that threaded hole inside that barrel, and it pulls everything together. I was going to do it with a nut. I was going to mortise a nut into the beam, and maybe plug it and kind of hide it. You know, drill a hole all the way through first, and then put a nut. You'll see. I don't feel like giving you a sketch right now. I'm wore out, man. Physically, this is a demanding job, you know. It's what keeps me fit. So that's it for now. I guess I'll just keep giving you guys a bunch of short videos on this. It's turning out pretty good. I like the character that I'm putting in it right now, so yeah. Look how light that gets. It's amazing. It's going to look so different when the finish gets on it. But what I'm doing right here, you can see how good this is because you should be able to see, looks like hair on there, right? Where that grain raises. That's a good thing. So now, what I can do is I can come in here with a finer sandpaper and hopefully erase any of the sanding marks that are on here. It's the one thing I don't want to see. I don't mind seeing the chatter marks. I'm actually putting them in on purpose. So, yeah. Pretty cool. This here is going to get cut. So on this edge, you're going to see this, which I think I did that on purpose, knowing that that was going to happen. So hopefully that'll look really cool. You'll see how thick that is from the edge here. I'm excited. It's fun. I like what I do most of the time. Be good to one another. I'll catch you all in the next one.